Kia ora, I'm going to go through the record and perhaps the conclusion in this video. So this is on example 2, which is on Akshay's grades. So I've already done tool and trial, so if you'd like to see how to do that, go to the last video. But going to record, we're going to do this on Google Sheets. So we mentioned before that we're going to use Google Sheets with a particular formula, but we can't use that formula yet. We have to say, we have to lay out what we're doing first. So we're going to write down trial, and we're going to put down our trial numbers here. So start with number 1, and then we add 1 every time we go down. So if you want more, again, if you want more detailed description of this, go to the videos for example 1, because I go a little bit faster through the second example. So I'm going to go equals A2, which selects that cell above that's just gone orange, plus 1. And if I write equals A2 plus 1, it's going to add 1 to the one above it. And then if I make that formula go right down the column, it's going to select the cell above each of the cells and then add 1 to it. So I take that little blue square and I go right down, and I'll do 30 trials, but I've used up the first row, so I go to there. And you can see each of these takes the cell above, which is A18, and then adds 1 to it. So that's all my 30 trial rows, and now I'm going to write down what each of these columns are going to be for our random numbers. Now in this we have we're generating 8 random numbers representing the grades that Akshay gets in his last 8 assignments. So we're going to go assessment 1, and then we're going to carry that over 8 times. So I take this little blue square and it's going to add 1 to each one. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's done assessments 1 to 8. So I've now laid out my record, and now I need to generate my random numbers. So I'm going to use that formula I mentioned in the description and tool. So equals rand between, and I'm going to select the numbers 1 and 100 because we wanted 100 random numbers, and that's given me the number 53. So I want to generate random numbers for a whole trial, so that's giving me 8 random numbers, and you'll notice that this one's changed. It's going to keep changing, and we have to copy and paste this in a special way so that they don't keep changing, because we don't want the numbers to change every time we do something in the sheet. If you notice that yours is doing that, it means that you haven't copied and pasted it properly, and you have to do that first before you can carry on. So I've done one trial, now I'm going to do the rest of the trial. So I select that blue square and I'm going to carry it all the way down, right up until trial 30, and it's generated all of my random numbers. Cool. So now that I've generated those, I have to do the copy and paste thing. So I right click on somewhere in here. So if you haven't selected all of them, make sure that you select them first by clicking and holding. That selects all of them. And then we want to right click, or with a Chromebook or with an iPad, you use a 2-finger click. Or hold it down before it comes up with a menu, and you go copy. And then we're going to select here, and you see the dash blue line across there. That means that it's being edited somehow or being copied. So now we're going to paste it. So right click and then go paste special and paste values only. So if it pastes the formula, it's going to keep changing, because this formula is what's called volatile, which means that it's going to change when you change any cell on the sheet. So we want to paste the values only, which is just the numbers, not the formula. And you'll see that now it's got 57, and then so that's now not got the formula anymore, it's just got the numbers. So that's that done. We then have to show what these numbers mean. So I'm going to colour them so it's easier to see. Now I'm going to make, I'm going to put a little key over here. I'm going to make red equals not achieved grade, which is N, and then I'm going to make orange equals achieved grade, and you can use any colours here as long as you're consistent, and that's A. And I'm going to add details. So this is numbers 1 and 2. Just like we said in our in tool in the Google Doc. So this is numbers 3 to 50. Yellow is merit grade, that's M, and that's numbers 51 to 83. And then green, I'm going to make it excellence grade, and that's going to be the numbers 84 to 100, just like I said before. So I'm going to colour these red, orange, yellow and green, just so I see what I'm doing. Now I'm going to apply those numbers into here, and you can do it really quickly by selecting all your numbers, all your random numbers, and then we're doing something called conditional formatting. So based on a condition, so in this case what the numbers are, it's going to colour at different things. So I'm going to go Format, Conditional Formatting, and now I'm going to make it text is between 1 and 2, and that's going to be my red. I'm going to add another rule for my achieved grades. So that was my not achieved grades. I'm going to do text is between 3 and 50, and that is orange. Add another rule. Text is between 51 and 83, and that is yellow. And my last one is my excellence grade. So text is between 84 and 100. And that's going to be that bright green there, so I can see it clearly. So that's my conditional formatting rules, and you can see that this has now changed colour, so you can see which ones are your numbers that have been assigned to not achieved, which ones are achieved, which ones are merit, and which ones are excellence. So now we can see really clearly when we have an excellence grade in different trials and when we don't. So successful, we're now going to write down whether this trial was successful or not. So out of, for example, the first trial, in those 8 assessments, did we get at least one excellence grade? If we got one excellence grade, that means he got the excellence that he wanted, and he would pass with excellence overall. Success, 1 is yes, it was successful, and 0 is no. Again, if you want to know the reasons behind that, watch the last video, because I go through why we write the 1s and the 0s for yes and no. So we look at this trial and we decide, is it successful? Now, a successful trial is when we have 1 or more excellence grades. So based on the situation, that's what we're looking for in this. So we want 1 or more excellence grades. So that means we want to see 2 green colours, because that's how we've assigned them. We did green as an excellence grade from 84 to 100. So a successful trial, we've got 2 greens there, so yes, it was successful. I put as 1 down. This one, I had a green there as well. This was successful as well. The third trial, I had no green, so that's not successful. The fourth one, I had 1 green, which is here, so that is successful. The next one, 1 green, successful. The next one, 1 green, that's successful. Be careful that you're looking at the row that you're, that you count the row that you're looking for. So for example, in this one, if you saw a green over here, you might, if you don't match it up properly, you might count that as a successful trial when it's not. So make sure you're careful that you are looking at the correct row. So this row, I've got 1 green, that's right. This one I've got 1. Oops. I made a mistake there. 8 plus 1. Yeah. Right. So this one, I had 1 green there, so that is success. This one I had 3 greens, so it's definitely enough. So put a 1 there. This one I had 3 greens again, that's 1. This one I had 3 greens again. This one I had 1 green, this one I had 1 green, this one I had none in that row. No greens, so that's 0. This one I had 1 green, success. This one none. This one 1 green, 1 green, 1 green. No greens, it's unsuccessful, I put a 0. 3 greens, success, put a 1. No greens, unsuccessful, put a 0. 2 greens, success. No greens, unsuccessful. 1 green, successful. 1 green, successful. 2 greens, successful. 2 greens, successful. 1 green, successful. And 1 green, successful. Cool, so that's that done. Make sure that you check through these to make sure that they are correct from your rows first before you do the next part. Okay, so we've now got the number of successful trials. We need to now find out the probability of him getting excellence out of his last 8 assessments. And that is how many successful trials we had over 30, because 30 was the total number of trials we had. So number of successful trials equals. So I'm going to add these all together. So these are only going to add the successful trials because the unsuccessful trials had zeros, so they wouldn't add anything to my total. So I'm going to sum them, so add them all up. So sum means adding all of these ones up. So there were 24 successful trials, and you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 unsuccessful trials and 24 successful trials, so that adds to 30, so that's good. Then estimated probability of success. So that is how many times we were successful out of the total trials that we did. So we had 24 successful trials, so I click that to do 24. You can also write 24. Divided by my total number of trials, so that's 30. So 0.8. So the probability of having at least one excellence grade out of his last 8 assessments is 0.8, which is 80%. So he's 80% likely to get that last excellence grade that he wanted based on this simulation. So we're now going to put that into here. So I'll share this. Now you won't have to share it like this, but I'm going to share with Mount Roskill Grammar School, copy link, Mount Roskill Grammar School, copy link, and then I'm going to paste it into here to show where I did my recording. So that's there, and you can, it looks like I can replace it with this instead, so you can see that there. But anyway, you might not be able to do that. A normal link is just fine. Okay, so the probability of Akshay achieving level 1 with excellence is the number of successful trials divided by the total trials. So that was what we worked out here, which was, these were the number of successful trials divided by 30. That's what that slash meant. So that was 24 divided by 30, and that was 0.8. This part here I'll go over in the next video, but that is the estimated probability of Akshay achieving level 1 with excellence is 0.8. And you should say that any results found in the simulation should be treated with caution, as it is an estimate and likely will be different if the simulation was repeated again. So please include that. That's this video done. Thanks for watching. If you want to find out the last bit, finding the average number of assessment grades needed, and looking at the discussion of any assumptions in this, please watch the next video. Thanks for watching.